Welcome to another episode of Live with KB's podcast. I'm your host, Kendall Butler. Today, we have a very special guest, my guy, Wendell Bigsby. We're going to get into his full life story, how it was coming up in Nashville, Tennessee, and everything he's been through in life, and how music has impacted his life in a very special, important way. Once again, welcome to another episode of Live with KB podcast. Mr. Bigsby, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Can't complain. Thank you for having me.
No problem. No problem.
It's a blessing to be here.
I got you. I'm just happy that you're here as well. So we're going to get into your life story. A lot of people know you. A lot of people have been following you throughout the years. A lot of people see you, perform live and everything like that. But I would love to get your full life story. So, we're going to get into that a little bit.
This is going to be interesting because I never thought about it before. So this is good. You the first.
I got you. That's good. So we're going to start out. Where are you originally from? And how was your early childhood coming up?
I was born and raised in North Nashville.
Okay.
37208. And grew up, went to Warden Junior High, Warden Elementary, St. Vincent.
Okay.
For a while. So my education came from school and from the street.
Right.
Right. So my dad was I guess when I was probably 9 years old, I looked at there was a show called the Ed Sullivan Show. Used to come on Sundays, and these kids called the Jackson 5 on there one Sunday, and I saw these kids. I'm like, man, that's cool.
Yeah.
So the next day we were working on a group.
Very next day, 24 hours later.
9 years old, and we were working on a group, and there was probably 10 of us.
Okay.
But it all started with me seeing my dad.
Yeah, that's a blessing, man. What schools did you attend? We'll do high school or college if college was
went to Warden.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Stratford.
Okay.
Went to Hillwood.
Okay.
Skipped through St. Vincent. Went around Father Ryan. Went to TSU.
Okay.
And I grew up next door to the Guptons, which was a blessing for me because they actually introduced me to a whole nother side of Nashville, professional black side. She was a school teacher, he was a principal, and he also was a coach of Pearl High.
Okay, so he had the education and the sports. And
their son was my best friend. We were 4 months apart.
So it was all meshed in pretty well.
Yeah, man. And so I followed them and realized how important education was at an early age. So he went to TSU, I went to TSU.
Okay.
And then when I got there, I wanted to do music. I barely went to class. Yeah. I was doing music. I'm playing in clubs. I'm supposed to be studying in class at 3:30 in the morning. I'm coming from the club, going to the dorm. I can't make class.
Yeah.
That's when I realized I better pour everything into this.
That's good, man. Did you have any role models growing up, and if so, who?
My dad. Okay. My dad, Sam Cooke.
Sam Cooke. Okay.
He was a role model for a lot of reasons. I mean, he was awesome as far as he started the first black publishing company. He wrote a song that just touched me called "Change Gonna Come." Then he was very big in black activism, right? So he had all that. And then I'm looking on TV and I'm seeing my dad. I'm like, I want to do that. That looks like that's fun. He's in his early 20s, and I'm probably 4 or 5 years old. Right?
But it's still catching your eye, though.
Yeah,
you still know what's going on.
Today. And he's on TV, so I'm you're 4 or 5, you ain't putting it together. You just know that looks like something I want to do.
And it's very impressionable, and I'm young, and I'm able to see it.
Like, how do I get there? I actually, Kendall, have been chasing that all my life. That it's still in my mind.
The image in your mind.
Yeah, black and white TV. Little boy standing in the living room with my grandmother and great aunts, and I can still see it. And I've been chasing that. And my deal with that is that I just want him to be proud of me.
Yeah, that's a blessing. So would you say your love for music started at a very young age?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So I never do life without music.
Right. And so your main influences, you would say, would be your dad and likes of Sam Cooke and
Otis Redding.
Okay.
Noble Blackwell. because they were all on Night Train, which was the first actual show. Man, there's so much history in Nashville. So my dad was on the show called Night Train, which was Noble Blackwell, and they did it at Channel 5. But it was the first R&B show in the history of the world. There was black local TV.
Right. Would you mind telling the people who your dad is before we get to much?
Jimmy Church.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah. Pop. I'm assuming.
Hey, it's good. Look, it's your dad. I don't expect you to say his name.
I just call him Pop, right?
Yeah.
So
Jimmy
he was
Church.
19 on that show, and but Noble Blackwell and Bob Holmes and all those cats, they created it and put it together. So as I grew older and I realized how hard that was in segregation, I couldn't help but to look up to them and admire how they put that together.
And they were all together performing on the same network
they
on
put
TV.
The show together, and Noble Blackwell was my dad's manager at the time. So if you look at there are a few Night Train clips that are still out on YouTube. A lot of them, they actually had a fire at Channel 5 because it was recorded at Channel 5 Studios. And the fire didn't damage all the film, but the water did. So so it's not that many left.
Right.
But if you look at them, you can't help but to see the similarities between Night Train and Soul Train. It was exact.
So that's almost like history erased.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like today where if something's on TV, it's automatically recorded. It's put to the algorithm.
There was no
back in the day,
anything.
if you didn't have the actual tape recording, it didn't happen.
It
didn't happen.
And so luckily they kept 5 or 6 of them, but 2 seasons were lost.
Wiped out.
Yeah, man. And it was, but the fact that they did it and put it together and how they did it, like I said, doing segregation when, it wasn't really a lot for blacks. They didn't get, so they worked their way up. They got it done. They were brilliant in putting it together. And so it made TV and it stuck and it hit and people liked it. So you can't help but to admire that because they were pioneers.
And obviously it started and or sparked the mind of somebody. Because I'm guessing, like you said, the similarities between Night Train and Soul Train. Who's to say whoever created Soul Train wasn't, watched Night Train and took similarities, at least the platform. Hey, we're going to do it this way and at least start off in a
man, that's a whole nother show that you could have.
Yeah.
Was how Soul Train
derived from Night Train.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was very, yeah.
Very
it was
similar.
A little brother.
Yeah.
They went to,
speaking of you being the son of Jimmy Church, how was it being the oldest son of Jimmy Church? And what were some of the things you saw him involved in musically? That's a lot of onion to peel. It's a lot of layers. It's
right?
2-part question.
Yeah, man.
That'll be the oldest son.
You see, I'm shifting my weight on this.
Yeah.
It's interesting, man, because when you grow up being the son of somebody that is famous in that city, period, then you have a lot. It's a lot on you because you have a lot to look up to. Never competition wise, just the fact that I want him to be proud of me, right? So. Being the first son, I wanted to do what he did. I was blessed to be able to do it, not as well as him, but I figured out how to do it my way. Right. So I was very proud to be his son, and it's something that is I'm very proud of it, and it's. That's a good question, dude. That's a good one.
Hey, look.
That's a real good one.
Yeah. But at least it gets you thinking like, okay, some of the things you had to grow up with being the oldest. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I asked that.
You asked a good one because I'm. It's funny as I'm thinking. That's why it's taking me so long to answer because I'm thinking out a bazillion things at one time.
Right.
Like it was really cool though.
Yeah.
I can remember him playing at the end of the summer every year. He would play Hadley Park's summer concerts. Way before you wasn't even done. But it would be 10,000 people
at Hadley Park.
They would have to shut 28th down because the crowds would be all the way out the street.
And they can't control that.
And so my dad would like be the headliner for the last show of the year. And I was just really, really, really proud of that. We walk out there. I lived like near Ed's Fish off of Buckhannon.
Okay. Yeah.
And Harold Love Sr. was my counselor. We'll put that in.
Yeah.
That's family.
Yes,
That's
sir.
family. He took really good care of us. And so just being the son of the person that everybody was grooving with was just a cool thing. Yeah, that was fun.
Well, so being that happening, right? You being the oldest, you being around throughout his parts of being able to musically being involved. This was down the times he was still involved musically.
Right.
Were you able to hang out with any famous people back then that you can kind of remember and good time just meeting, shaking hands with people?
I didn't realize my dad was. I heard stories. He would tell me stories, and I would hear stories about him and Johnny Taylor and Johnny Guitar Watson but when I really knew my dad was that dude was when I was in the band with him, and we were opening up for somewhere, and Little Richard was headlining. And Richard stopped the rehearsal when we walked in. He was like, "There's Jimmy." He stops the rehearsal, goes and grabs my dad and hugs him. I'm like, "Man, my dad's pretty big deal."
Yeah, Little Richard.
They're like this, man. They
Really?
were like this until Richard died. They go way back to L.A. Right? So I found a picture the other day. It's funny. My son was, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years old, and he's standing on the side of the stage when Richard and them were performing. He's got some drumsticks in his hand, and I'm standing there. So it was that was really cool. But Pop knew a lot of musicians.
Yeah.
And a lot of cats I got to see.
That's good that you were able to meet them. So going off that, were you able to travel with them at any time? And if so, what did you learn on the road?
Traveling with him, I saw a lot more than anything. It was interesting. I was in this band for 5 years.
Okay.
And
That's dope.
The 5 years that I was there were probably the best 5 years of my life. Because I'm rocking with my dad all over the country. You know, we go to Connecticut and do this thing for Diana Ross. We go to Carmel, California, we playing at Clint Eastwood's crib. We doing this and this, and you know, I'm just watching this. And it's probably part of the reason that the way my band, the cover band, the corporate band that I have, Bizz and Everyday People, it's probably that's the way it's set up because of what I saw.
Okay, so you took advice and you took the knowledge that you learned.
I looked at what I saw. Yeah, and he would tell me things. One thing I have learned from him more than anything is that always treat your guys better than yourself, because without the band, you don't exist.
Yeah, you're not you no more.
A lot of cats don't realize that. You know, if something goes wrong and you don't get paid, they still get paid. It has nothing to do with you. You take care of them. That's old school, man.
Yeah.
I don't think people do that.
It's all about me.
It's all about me. If I ain't getting paid, you got to
ain't nobody getting paid.
Yeah, he was no nonsense about that. He was and still is the consummate, the ultimate leader, the band leader. Yeah. And I learned that from him. I saw him do that.
From your perspective, how did your father influence or impact the music scene in Nashville? If you had to say in your own opinion.
Man, you got some good ones, man. That's a good question.
I'll try.
Let's see. Yeah, you can. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Kendall. He was 19, right? And so he had this look. And I remember he was on tour with Jackie Wilson. Okay. For a long time, and not a long time, but he was younger, and him and Jackie Wilson looked so much alike that Jackie Wilson would go up to the room and he would stay in the limo and be Jackie Wilson, so everybody would follow him, so he could get some rest. Yeah. That's not what you asked me, but that's leading to So he's 19, he's doing R&B, he's doing all this music, and he's changing the way things are done. He's got music on WLAC radio. And he brought the first, the actual R&B band, the band vibe. He brought that to Nashville. He put that together.
So not a solo act, but an actual band.
A show, a review, a showcase. Right. 3 girls, 4 horns. Yeah. Everybody's doing harmony just like the record. They weren't doing that before Pop. Like, I mean, and there were bands, there were the Endeavors, and there were, man, the music scene in the 60s, and that was before my time, but I remember being told that, like, when Sue Bridgeforth and all them cats, man, there was so many good bands at the era. And just, this is Music City, but this ain't Music City because of Lower Broad.
Right.
This is Music City for a reason.
The real history.
Jefferson was like Beale Street. You know, it was.
Any great experience since we talking about Jefferson? And that's the thing. It's kind of. I had this talk with some people our age group. We never got to experience a lick of it.
No,
right.
Man,
so it's kind of like.
And I caught the last inning. I wasn't old enough to see the Jefferson Street before the interstate cut it off. Right. I remember I was a baby. But I'm just one generation away from that. So I heard all these stories. And I heard them from the same people. I heard from the people that own the clubs. Right. You know what I'm saying? There was
involved in.
Yeah. I mean, you know, there was Uncle Teddy that owned the Del Maraca, and Hendrix was there, and they would tell all these stories about how Fats Domino and Duke Ellington and all them would go play for the white folks, and then come over there and play all night. And you know, and think nothing of it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Having fun, enjoying it, being around their people.
Coming over with my folks, I made my
playing music.
Yeah. And you couldn't stay over there anyway.
Right. So you had to eventually come back. Might as well give y'all a show.
The clubs, all of that was on Jefferson.
Would you say his impact, your father's impact, is still felt to this day?
Oh yeah.
Music-wise?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a National Museum of there's a National Museum of African American Music, right?
Yeah.
That's because Pop and them did what they did. Bobby Jones did what he did. It all came from Nashville. Yeah, man. He was part of a movement. You know what I'm saying? He would never say he was the movement. Right. But he was part of a movement that brought black music, R&B music, blues music, funk music, soul music to Nashville and to the country. Because a lot of it came out of here.
And those are stories that are not being told, man. Nashville kind of gets swept when it comes to music. Nashville kind of gets swept under the rug unless you do talk to people and kind of get the real history of it.
Well, country music took over.
Yeah. That's all people kind of think about when it comes to here.
And we all know why they call it Music City. Yeah. Fitz Jubilee Singers.
Right.
We know that. Right. But you can't compete with that. So you should try to, and you can't really make anyone include you. Right.
You can't force feed some people some stuff they don't want.
You got to just keep grinding. And eventually, you know, you just hope that we keep telling the story so they won't go away.
Gotcha. Have you ever opened up for any famous musicians that we may know of? And if so, how was that experience?
Richard, James Brown, Aretha Franklin.
That's a nice three to start off with.
That's I didn't think about it. That's like, pretty. I guess that's
James
cool.
Brown, Aretha Franklin.
Well, one of the coolest things ever was to open up for James Brown. That was fun. He was just cool, man.
Yeah. Just as a person.
Dude, I remember one time we were in Jackson, Mississippi in like August. And he came in, him and his wife came in fur coats. They wasn't even sweating. I'm like, this dude is different. He built different.
So cool is a different word for him.
How can you not sweat?
In Mississippi and all.
Short sleeve shirts, and I'm uncomfortable, man. I'm like, you know, he was really, really good people. After the show, we come backstage, and, you know, take pictures with us, and you know, y'all, God bless, man. God bless, do what you do. Make sure you do it, you know, do your thing. Stay true to the music. You know, tell your dad I said hi. So that was fun.
Oh, okay. So that was a good experience, is having that. Those are memories,
Watching that
man.
Dude live. Man, at that time, he probably had 13, 14 people on stage. And you watching James Brown do James Brown. We ain't watching somebody else do James Brown.
Right. It's
We're
actually
watching
him.
James Brown do James Brown. And man, you can't help but to, you know, you can't help but to pick up some of that and take that with you when you go put your stuff together. It was, you know how education comes in a lot of different ways. I mean, people go to college to get education. I got education on the road. I got education watching that man perform, watching how Aretha did her thing, and just the professionalism of all of that.
How serious they took it.
Man, it was fun, but it was serious. And
Yeah,
the
it was
band
serious.
was like, they wasn't messing around. You know, ain't nobody backstage smoking weed. Ain't nobody.
So them lights came on. It was business.
They took it seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They would change clothes 3 times. It's funny, man. I'm sitting here talking to you. I hadn't thought about this stuff in 20 years, man. I saw, and I'm realizing why I do what I do, and the reason and the way I do it is because I saw it done that way, right? So nowadays, it's not done that way anymore. And I think that's one of the things that, because people, my generation and generation before me, they don't get to see these bands, so that's kind of why we work a lot.
Y'all saw it from a different angle at a different time. Therefore,
we try to be a show
take
band.
it different.
I try my best to do exactly what my dad did.
From your personal memory, how was the music scene in Nashville while you were coming up in your day?
It was funny because it's local and you don't realize how good they are because everybody's just doing it. And as you come away from it, when you're in the weeds, everybody's just good doing music. Right. But as you get further away from it, you realize everybody was doing really, really, really good music. And most cities didn't have that. And you just assume that all cities, you know, growing up, you don't even think about anything but what you're doing.
Right.
You just
you there, you're doing it every day.
You don't realize it. Man, this is special. Yeah. Like I'm watching something that there are a couple other cities. I mean, Columbus, Ohio got funk, but that was 70s.
Okay.
You got Slave, you got Ohio Players, you know, you got that group. But man, it was so much that came out of Nashville. And then once the interstate came, it just went away.
It's like,
think about that. From 8th Avenue to 28th Avenue.
It's a long stretch.
You you cut all that off. There is no neighborhood anymore. So there's no you know what I'm saying?
No houses, people move.
There's nothing, there's no growth, there's no stores, because the interstate has just completely chopped that off. It's just almost like tying up a vein. Eventually, it's gonna cut off. And that's what happened.
Has it changed at all in your opinion? And what are some of the things you missed about the old Nashville? I mean, in 2024.
I'm gonna really have to think about it. So the first thing I want to go is go gentrification. Let me back that up.
I mean, you've seen a lot. I mean,
man, we've seen. I'm sorry, I got to Nashville, man. When I grew up on 21st and Osage, between Buckhannon and Osage Street, like right there. And then my uncle on over was Gus Church, who ran a store in the bottom.
Okay.
By White City Park and all of that. So people don't realize there's a lot of love in my neighborhood. It was a lot of love in the streets. It was the street. You didn't mess around. Right. But everybody on my street, man, went to work. I probably was the only kid that lived in a house whose parents weren't in the house. Because my dad was doing this thing and my mom was doing it. But my grandmother and great aunts raised me. And everybody's dad got up and went to work. Everybody's moms, you know, pretty much stayed home, took care of them and the kids when we got home from school, somebody get in trouble. So it was just a regular neighborhood with regular people doing regular things. But most of the kids were into music.
Yeah, so that was the thing.
Most of the kids were into music. Well, now I'm not going to say most of the kids because at that time, Pearl High had probably one of the best basketball programs in the nation. And I still remember Pearl and Noah playing each other. Dude, you missed that.
Crowd.
Trust me, you shouldn't have missed that. It was just two black high schools on the north side of Nashville going at it.
Kids know each other, parents know each other. Man, all type of bragging rights going on.
Parents are bragging because their kids are playing, and then the little brothers and sisters are, and it's just it's the clinic bar, and it's like 10,000 black people watching these people play. And we would go and play at Vanderbilt.
Oh, that's dope.
Oh man, it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was a sense of pride that you don't have now. Like we were proud of them days. NIL, all NIL. You couldn't wait to look at the paper and see if you knew anybody. Man, I go Charles Davis, y'all, and that's gone. Like that's no longer. North Nashville isn't really North Nashville anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So. I hope that answered the question.
Yes, sir. Most
I just
definitely
went down
did.
memory lane.
Nah, you good. That's why.
I ain't thought about this stuff.
That's why. That's why I told you we're gonna get it. We're gonna have you thinking about it. I appreciate it.
I hope I don't give myself away and tell like, can you take that out? I didn't mean to say it.
Oh, you're good. Did music help you overcome any obstacles in your life? And if so, what were some of the things that you had to overcome?
All obstacles.
All obstacles.
Man, I'm 11 years clean and sober.
Okay.
Right. So I'm in my 60s. So that tell you how long I was using drugs and alcohol.
Gotcha.
Right. So I've been doing music since I was 9, and that's the only thing that kept me alive. Music is really. I say this all the time in my shows. Music is straight from God, because it doesn't really care who you vote for, where you live, what you do. It's still gonna touch you.
All right.
It's still gonna get.
It's music.
It's gonna get at you. It might be, and there are only two kinds: good and bad. You know, it's not like there's some country stuff I love.
All right. If it's some good music, you don't like it.
It's good. It's good.
It's good.
You know, I grew up, and I grew up in the first year of busing, right? So I was a warden probably in the 6th grade.
Okay.
And they bust the kids from Hillwood over the warden, the white kids. And the parents were really upset about that. Then the next year they bust us to Hillwood. That's how I went to. Man, I'm still friends with some of them. Because we all love music. They still come to my shows, the Bizz shows. Yeah. They come to them and we go down memory lane. I mean, I have 50-year friendships that I never would have known these people
if it wasn't for music.
Yeah.
That's deep, man. Well, what are some of your favorite musical memories from back in the day up to now? As you being involved, as long as you've been involved since 9 years old, right? All the way up to now. Dad,
right? So. Watch him shut down Hadley Park. That was always fun.
I'm trying to envision that in my head.
Like, dude, imagine, okay, you know how small that little stage is.
Right.
That stage was big when we were little.
Okay.
Right? There were people all the way around that, all the way past the library, in the street. Like where the baseball field, all of that.
Filled
with people. Well, there wasn't nothing else to do.
Yeah.
It's summer. It's the last Sunday. It was a Sunday at 5 o'clock, man.
Everybody done been to church if they went. Everybody had time.
It wasn't no craziness. Wasn't no, it's just everybody would come out and at 3:30 we started walking. Me and my little dudes, it was like 5 or 6 cats on the net. We go over there and get right up on the little front row, and I'm like, that's my dad.
Yeah.
That's a good memory. That's a. I also have a memory. One of my favorite memories is I realized how powerful music was when the Super Freak tour, when Rick James it was the first leg of the Super Freak tour. He did a show here with Prince. And I was blessed to be, I'm on the stage, just standing on the stage, watching him come out and shut it down. And everybody, at that time, actually had lighters. They were actually lighters. They weren't phones. There were no cell phones.
Right, little pictures being taken.
And I felt the energy of that. And I'm like, oh man, I can't even describe that. But it hit me. I'm like, I want that. Yeah. Because you got 10,000 people focused on this one thing, and then he comes out with Ghetto Life. The show opened up with Ghetto Life, and man, that I'll never forget the feeling.
Just the crowd's interaction with just one person performing.
The energy of that, you could actually feel it. Like, you know what I mean? You couldn't see it, but you could feel it. It was, man. So I'm getting excited. Just think about. No, that's how powerful music is. Yeah. And I never forgot that. I never forgot that emotion.
Yeah, gotcha. What advice would you give young musicians coming up or young people in general that might be trying to find their way in both, learning the skills necessary to play and perform as well as the business side of the music?
Man, I can't really give no advice on the business side because everything is different.
Okay.
I can give advice on the life side.
Okay.
Stay true to who you are. And there's no substitute for hard work. You can't get around that.
That's a quote.
That's smoke. You can't smoke in mirrors, dude.
Yeah.
See, what I'm finna talk generational, so I don't want to sound like no old man, but the problem right now is that everybody wants to make the cake out of the icing. Nobody wants to take the time to make the cake.
Right.
They just want to put the whole slob of icing, and that's what we eat.
Right.
But it has no substance. It takes a lot. Like cake, and you're gonna have some things in the cake you don't like baking soda.
Mm-hmm.
There gonna be some days while you're struggling trying to do this music, and these days gonna be baking soda days. They just gonna be screwed up. Ain't nobody gonna answer your phone. You gonna put your thing on, you gonna get 4 likes in 10 days, and it's gonna buy. But it's necessary to go in the cake to make the cake bake. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody wants
Takes time. Takes time.
There's no substitute for hard work. That doesn't change. There's an order to the universe. And when my grass grows, is after it rains. It's kind of like life. Like you'll grow after it rains in your life because you got to figure stuff out. You got to figure out what it takes to get to this point and to that point. But we all want sunshine all the time. Everybody loves the sunshine, right? But the rain is what makes the grass grow.
Yeah. And you know, every time something does happen to your life that's hard, you just know you just got to get through it, get to that other side. You know it's something good at the end.
Yeah, that's the point.
You know, but you just got to get through it. Got to find a way, too.
Yes.
Find a way, whatever it takes.
Make a way sometimes. Where there is no way, you got to, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the only time you realize how strong you are is when you're tested and when you're pushed. That's what I would say to cats doing music right now. But I would also say that to cats doing anything. Music is totally different than it was when I grew up. It ain't even about music anymore. It's about likes and clicks. And nobody's really trying to get a record deal. They're trying to get distribution deals. So that means you got to get a bunch of followers. You don't have to be good. You just have to get a bunch of followers.
Right.
Which means the music ain't good.
Right.
Because nobody's working or doing, you know what I'm saying? So it's
like an overnight success mixed in with a little bit of this,
the worst
little bit of that.
thing you could do is to be successful, and that ain't really you. Like I know some cats that went this way, but then they got talked into doing this, and it blew up, and now they stuck because that ain't who they are. And they got to get up every day and be somebody that, and they can't get out of it because that's how they eat.
That's how that's.
So watch what your ass for. You know what I'm saying?
And eventually it's gonna show itself.
Man,
eventually.
Well, sometimes it doesn't. You just die unhappy. Like you never get to be who you are. Because now everybody's eating at your table. Right? So you can't stop cooking.
You can't go back to what your real self is.
You feeding the whole table. You can't, you just gotta say, okay, ain't nobody eating no more. But you gotta do something that's not really you. So just, if I had to say one thing, it would be true to you. Just no matter what it is. Because at the end of the day, you can sleep good at night if you know you was true.
That's dope. Going off of that, because that was some good advice. Many people would say if they knew yesterday what they know today, they might have done things differently, right? What things might have you done differently in hindsight if you had the opportunity to do so?
I probably wouldn't have smoked weed at 11.
Okay.
Duh. You think so?
Hey, man, everybody got that start point.
I thought it was a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I've always you finna get me now, man. I'm finna give you something.
I'm here for it.
No, I don't want to give it to you, but I got to give it to you. Here I am. It's right here now. I'm like, let me pull it. I never really knew who I was. I never really, I wanted you to like me because I didn't really know who I was. So if you liked me, I must be cool. Right? Because I'm watching my parents do their thing, and I'm over here. Now this ain't got nothing to do with my parents. But as a kid, when you're by yourself and your grandmother's raising you, then you think it must be something wrong with you. Because it can't be nothing wrong with them because they're your folks.
Right. Yeah.
And you know, if you working and you making a living, you can't be here and be there at the same time. As a kid, you don't understand that. So I always thought I was broken, like something was wrong with me. Because my folks, there wasn't nobody there. Now, this is my truth. I'm not, this is a
This is your story.
I mean, you know what I'm
it's
saying?
your story.
And I love my parents and they good, you know, I'm not going there. That's not, I'm telling you.
Through your lens.
Right. This is just how I felt about me. Mm-hmm. So, and I forgot what the question was. I went down into it. But I probably would have told me I'm okay. It took a long time for me to realize I'm okay. And I grew up in front of everybody, and I tried to please everybody because I had no idea who I was. I sit here now very confident of who I am, and it's I realized that was the life that was for me. I made choices, and your choices, there are consequences, good and bad, for your choices. I wouldn't change anything though.
Because it made you who you are today.
And I got the best relationship in the world with my dad. You know, my mom's been gone for a while. She's been there for a while. I was her only child. But I have a really good relationship with my kids. Yeah. And I don't know if any of that would have happened had I not gone through the life I went through. Right? I'm very, very grateful. I feel like my life has been, each step has been planned by God, even when I didn't know what was going on and what I was doing. It got me exactly where I was supposed to be. So I'm at peace with all that. Yeah. Some people never find it. You know what I mean? So
some people still searching.
Some people will never find it.
They'll never find it.
They'll never find it. And the thing about it, man, honestly, everything we need, we already got. He gave it. We came fully equipped. Yeah. We just don't realize. Yeah. See, the enemy's job, he can't really do nothing. Right. He don't have the power to do something. So what he does, he just kind of messes with you and makes you think you're not worthy of it. And then you just sabotage it yourself.
He'll just watch you destroy yourself from the inside out.
Yeah, it's like, because I remember there were times when I was real close and all I gotta do is go to this meeting. Right. And everybody at the meeting is up here and they trying to help me. I didn't go to that meeting because I wasn't really sure that I was, I don't think I'm worthy of that. That's how the enemy gets you. He can't take it. Right. He just gets it. Because I say to myself all the time, the worst place I'd rather be in the projects. Ain't nothing wrong with the projects, but I'd rather be in the projects at 3 a.m. by myself than to be in my head at 3 a.m. by myself. Because that's where he gets me. Well,
just have you second guessing yourself and just make you feel like you're not supposed to be what God wants you to be.
Man, you know what I mean? Yeah, you second guess everything you do, and then you start overthinking stuff, and then it's like, well, I ain't supposed to be here no way. And then some little voice go, you don't belong here. You ain't good enough. I don't even know why you doing it. You just need to leave it alone. Go on and be a school teacher.
Next thing
you know what I mean? but yeah, man. So I battled that all my life, right? So I'm in a really, really good place now. So I had to say that because you never know who needs to hear that. Yeah, because I don't really care what anybody thinks about me anymore. Yeah. I'm just gonna always tell my truth and hopefully it helps.
Man. What do you wish you continue to do in the next couple of years? And you got anything on the bucket list you want to accomplish left?
Couple
in the future. Okay.
I want them just because they're out there. It doesn't really say what's the best and what's not the best. It doesn't validate you. I just want them. My dad should have got one. He wrote. They got one. He was on this thing called Night Train to Nashville, which the Country Music Hall of Fame did. Okay. And so the album got a Grammy, but for some reason his song didn't get on the album and didn't get the Grammy, so he didn't get it. So I want to get one for him. Yeah. That's, and I want to start a charter school. Okay. Yeah. Those are some of the things I want to do. Yeah. Yeah, that's on my bucket list, and I want to see my kids be very successful. Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, man. That's three good things to accomplish.
Yeah, man. Now that I'm sitting here thinking, you got me going down. I'm very, very blessed. I'm a blessed man. I shouldn't be here a bazillion times. I mean, I had a car wreck where I died on the way to the hospital. I survived cancer. I survived drugs and alcohol. I still got my kids, my family, you know what I mean? My health is great. Nah, man. If I had to put a name on this interview, it would be called Redemption. I ain't supposed to be sitting here, Kendall, but here I am. Ain't God good?
Living testimony.
Ain't good, man.
Living testimony.
Good.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Well, like I said, man, I appreciate you coming on my platform.
Thank you, man. Thank you for
sharing.
having me.
No problem. Sharing your life story. Like I said, I know a lot of people know you. A lot of people grew up with you. A lot of people have seen you do your thing from such a young age all the way up to now, performing, still performing to this day.
To this day.
It ain't a retired, this ain't a retired interview. This is something.
No. This is who I am, not what I do.
I'm sure you had something to sing today, so, right? So it's just
was singing in about 3 hours ago. I'm doing something.
It's just the truth too. So, but I appreciate the opportunity you giving me to kind of get your life story out there.
Thank you, man. Thanks for asking me.
No problem. Glad you guys for joining me. I'm your host, Kendall Butler. Our special guest, Wendell Bigsby. And
it's a good dude, right here.
I appreciate it, man. And you guys are watching me live with KB Podcast. Check us out next time. Have a blessed one.
Peace.